Hi, I'm Joey with SMOKESTACK BBQ, a competition-grade barbecue smoker system that makes great barbecue available in your backyard. And it's so easy that anybody who can follow some very basic principles can be producing perfect barbecue results every time. Today we're going to be demonstrating firing up your smokestack for cooking barbecue. Here you're looking at a SMOKESTACK BBQ already setting atop a 22-inch Weber kettle grill. There's three basic principles that you really need to know to make your barbecue work perfect every time. 1, keep your fire burning. 2, keep water in your reservoir. And 3, when there's black smoke, don't let it enter into your cook chamber where your meat's going to be cooking. So, getting started, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smokestack off of the Weber, place it to the side, and step 1, keep your fire going. I like to start with a pile of charcoal, which I will light, and then we will go into time lapse so I can spare you the 10 minutes of ignition time. But these coals are looking hot, so here come the first few sticks for our demonstration. We're using hickory today. We do recommend kind of filling up your firebox when you get started. It'll save you from having to refuel later unless you're doing a really short cook. But for the demonstration, we'll throw in a good number of logs. And you will see these are logs, not chunks, like are sometimes available at a grocery market or a hardware store. The logs set atop our hot charcoal. We do want to see an open flame. We want to maintain that first principle of have a good open fire. So we're going to wait a little while for these to ignite, put it back on time lapse, and then we will come to setting the smokestack, adding the water, and getting the water boiling. I'm back, and our first principle, open flame, is starting to occur. The wood's not fully burning yet, there's still some bad black smoke coming off, but our next step, getting the water boiling, is we're ready to go. So, very easy. You'll first notice that we do not have our grill grate here. We actually have our grill grate set into our smokestack already. Our smokestack units only weigh about 20 pounds, so this is pretty easy. Anybody should be able to do it. You set it right on top of your burning fire, and you'll notice that smoke immediately starts coming anywhere it's allowed to. And there are some things to talk about with the path of the smoke. Wait for this to clear. I just closed one of the dampers. This damper here controls how much smoke comes into the cook chamber when we're cooking. What I did was I closed it so it's not coming into my face. I would much rather have all the smoke coming up here while I'm working and adding water and setting it. And likewise later when I'm adding meat or retrieving the meat, I don't want the smoke in my face. And then equally, when it's black smoke and you have food on here, you don't want the black smoke to touch your food. So you always send it out through that way. And again, this wood's just getting lit. So it's still black smoke, but it's plenty sufficient to get our water boiling. I'm just using my garden hose right now, and I'm going to eyeball it. We can fit about 4 gallons in here, but to get started I like to start with maybe about 2, and it's just so that it'll start boiling faster. I can add water to the boil later and keep it going, but to get started I think 2 gallons will probably suffice. And we've got a good fire down below, water placed in our unit up above, with our grill grate already in place. And all I need to do now is put the original Weber lid right there on top. I'm going to open this back up to allow the smoke into the cook chamber, and you'll see it starts coming out here immediately. But I'm also going to leave this one open for the time being, and the reason is I know that fire is still working to really get started. And at the same time, I want to induce maximum airflow through this unit. I started with the bottom open, and now I have both flues in the middle of the smokestack open, and I have the top of the Weber open. If the time-lapse can pick it up, this is going to probably be the coolest time-lapse of all, because what you'll find is this thermometer is going to spike way up to probably like 350, 400 degrees in response to the fire below, until the water starts boiling, and then the steam temperature regulation is going to carry it right back down to about 225, which is exactly perfect barbecue temperature. So I think it's worth checking in. I actually did check in behind the scenes. You might have seen me on high speed. And I opened up the bypass door over there where we can refuel. I'll show that during Black Smoke some more. But I'm here right now just to check temperature, and we are at 275 degrees right now. And I kind of hear a boil starting to build. The reason I opened this bypass door though was because the fire was kind of smoldering. I mentioned it was just starting to get started. We saw open flames, but the wood wasn't fully ignited, and the maximum airflow is important. And so when I noticed a lot of smoke after, however long it was, maybe 10, 15 minutes, it seemed to me that it might have been smoldering. I opened that up, and I've literally in the last minute watched the temperature jump from 200, it's now at 280 in just the few seconds I've been talking to you. I suspect it will continue climbing as we wait for the water to boil, but we are just checking in, and since I've opened this door, and when I did initially there was no flames, now there is certainly open flames in there. I'm going to close it back up. I think that it should hold at this point, and this is just a check on the boil. We'll be back shortly. Alright, we get some bonus footage tonight because I'm hungry and I get to eat. Right now we're just at about 295, so we're falling, and I can hear the steam boiling. I know it's going to be there any minute. So I'm going to add my chicken, because chicken has this skin that likes to get crispy with hotter temperatures anyway. And I'll take advantage of the early hot temp, and I'm pretty sure it'll drop in the next few minutes. But before I even open this, the first thing I want to do is send all the smoke up through the bypass and close this guy. Again, so I don't get hit in the face with a bunch of smoke. That guy off. And we do have a nice boil going. We have a really nice fire down there now. Put this guy right over here. But if the video can capture it, you'll see some boiling water, particularly in the center, not so much around the outer ring, but we're getting there. Save all this delicious marinade by the Caulfield Provision Company. Guys, I'm back. My chicken's cooking. The smokestack is cooking almost perfectly. We're a little bit above 250 right now, which just tells me that I have a really, really flaming fire down in the firebox. But actually, this is a great time to demonstrate the final principle of black smoke. Right now, you'll notice that what's coming out of here is very clear. In fact, it's mostly steam, although a lot of smoke. And this is closed off, but some smoke leaks out, and it's a very clear, white, almost bluish smoke. Blue smoke, clear smoke is what we're looking for. Black smoke is toxic and can ruin your cook. It's a pitfall for major amounts of barbecue. When people add fresh fuel, if you rewind through any of our fast forwards, every time I added fresh fuel, whether it was charcoal or wood, what it did for the first 10 or 15 minutes is it would give off, not even 15, 5 or 10 minutes, it'll give off a really, really awful black smoke, which is toxic, and it tastes awful. But anyways, we're cooking right now at just above 250, and I'm gonna pretend that I'm low on fuel or that I wanna go for a walk for the next hour and a half. And so I'm gonna block smoke temporarily from coming into my cook chamber. And this thermometer is gonna drop, but it won't drop below a reasonable barbecue temperature. It'll stay around 210 from the steam. And I'm going to progress to adding fuel, which is very simple. We don't have to lift the unit. We have a very convenient access door here. I'll give you further views on the demo model, but I can add full logs. Here's a nice log. And I was mentioning the chunks earlier that you can get. You can get chunks, and they toss right in there as well. And this goes right into the bottom of the Weber. And I can close this back up. But what you'll find is this smoke right here is going to very quickly darken and become toxic. So before I redirect that back into my cook chamber, I require this bypass to save my cook from the otherwise toxic black smoke. This gets you through the 3 principles of cooking with a smokestack and how easy it is. Keep your fire burning, keep water in your tank, and avoid this black smoke, which is starting to build up now, and we'll redirect in a minute. One final thing that I didn't get to touch on, we didn't get to look very much at this guy, but here's a brand new unit that's never been cooked on. You can see it is unseasoned on the inside and requires a dry cook. We'll go through seasoning your grill later. You can see that as I turn these knobs, this will open a damper which goes right down to below in the firebox. And likewise, as I turn this, I either allow smoke to exhaust out through here, and for refueling, you can see that everything conveniently drops right into the bottom of the Weber through this refueling chute, doubles as a bypass exhaust, and the whole time we're cooking and making perfection barbecue. Again, if you guys tune out at this point, thank you for watching. We are Smokestack, www.smokestack-bbq.com. Alright guys, checking in on my dinner, which is cooking here. We had the black smoke running out of the bypass and steam holding us right now at 212 degrees. Actually 218 degrees. We're going to open smoke back up since it's looking nice and clear and blue over here. We're going to open it back up into the smoke chamber, or into the cook chamber. And I'm going to crack this bypass to half closed just to allow the fire to keep burning and keep a nice hot fire, because again, this is chicken and I want to cook it a little bit hotter than your usual barbecue. But another thing to notice is you do have 2 controls here, a medium, a low, a medium, and a high. And again, we're sitting beautiful, already climbing over 223 and climbing. So we're going to let the chicken continue to smoke. Put it in about 15-20 minutes ago. It hadn't been long. I'll give it probably 30 minutes for the thigh, maybe 40 minutes. And then if I don't feel like the skin's crispy enough, I'll either remove it or we'll cook it on the stove or broiler or some other method. But the chicken should come off tender. If you want to, thank you again for watching. www.smokestack-bbq.com. Visit us online. Thank you.